Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day. This video is about SPGs, the class that has undergone the most changes continuously since this game started. SPGs. Some people love them, some people hate them. This particular one is the Bat Chat 15556, driven by Tot en avant from the Free Clan. Shout out to you guys. Now, everyone knows SPGs have been nerfed. In the latest patch, they were nerfed heavily. And I even did a video called, why bother playing SPGs anymore? And I tried to play some SPGs because I had played them before the nerf. Mainly the American ones, the T55, or 53, 55, and the T92, to do missions. And then I played them after the nerf, and even a slight miss rolled 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But you'll notice something different in this video. This guy's playing the Bat Chat, and look at his loadout. He's got nothing but AP shells. Got new ammunition. Watch. Boom. Direct hit. He's a Senselmon Touche. A direct hit. This particular SPG takes 3 shots. 3 shots in the clip. And he's got a lot of armor piercing loaded. There's 3 types of ammunition now, right? There's the regular HE, that's number 1. And that has very reduced splash radius. Very reduced splash radius. Gonna take another shot. Direct hit! Hey, Chaliga! And then number 2 does more damage. Well, let me recap again. Number 1 has a very small splash radius, less damage, but it stuns you. Number 2 does not stun you, has an even smaller splash radius, but does more damage. And then the third type of ammo is armor piercing, and you have to actually hit and penetrate to do damage. He's taken 2 shots, he's penetrated both shots with armor piercing. Now, I played SPGs after the nerf, probably just 6 or 7 games. Oh, look, tree down there, someone down. Just 6 or 7 games, he takes a blind shot. Remember, that's a blind shot. Okay, we're going to keep track of his shots. He's taken 3 shots, I'm going to write it down, 1 blind. He's hit both shots that he had a target. Now, after the nerf, I played, and the thing that I found the SPGs unplayable, really. I played the M53-55 and the T92, and the way the American SPGs worked before the nerf was they were fairly inaccurate, especially the T92, and you typically miss almost all your shots in a game. But because the splash radius was so big and damage was so high, you'd still do damage. On a miss, you'd do 300-400 damage, and that's one of the reasons SPGs were nerfed. After the nerf, I would play them and have similar dispersion within my aim circle, miss almost all my shots, and end up rolling 0 a lot because the splash radius reduced. He takes a shot here. Oh, direct hit. He's so touche. Are you starting to see a pattern in this game? I even played this Bat Chat artillery in my sheriff's account and found it to be one of the worst SPGs just because it does less damage. This is even before the nerf. Okay, after the nerf, I played. Oh, he took a shot. Oh, direct hit. He's Selmon Touche. Boy, that's strange, eh? What would make this player have a loadout of almost 50% of his ammo being armor piercing? That was a blind shot. I'm going to call that as a blind shot. 2 blind shots because the enemy disappeared. And when the enemy disappears, your little aim thing changes. What would cause him to roll with almost all armor piercing? Well, I did also a recent video where I completed all the Object 279E missions for American and British tanks. Did you guys see that video? Called Am I Cheating? Is this cheating to complete the Object 279E missions? And I ran the Tier 9 British SPG, the FB, and I ran it with the stock gun. And I just took shot after shot after shot after shot after shot after shot and just kept stunning everyone because the fire rate was so high. But I also did miss almost... Oh, direct hit! He's on touche. That's strange. I was hitting a lot of shots. I was using the stock gun, so I wasn't doing a lot of damage. But I was... my shots were like Bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Oh, just an inch away, an inch away. And even though there's a reduced splash radius, I was stunning people every shot. Now here's my question. were SPGs this accurate before the nerf? I played this bat chat SPG. Oh, I'm going to call that a blind shot because it disappeared. 3 blind. 3 blind mice. We're keeping track of the shots. When enemies disappear, it's a blind shot. Like if you take the shot here, okay, we're just keeping track of the shots. Oh, no shot there. You're gonna have to move. You got some mobility. You can move. Can he readjust? Let's see. No, he just does not have a. He has to feather this shot. There's almost no way that this shot will hit this. He's got like, it's impossible, right? Oh, he hit. Screen not penetrated, but a bullseye as he was pulling away, and had a feather, just a tiny. Are you noticing a pattern? I'm not an SPG player, so I can't, I can't come out and claim a new theory. I can't say, well, this is what this is truth. So I'm asking some players that play SPGs, some players that are committed to SPGs, and I've only played kind of 2 sessions to do those Object 279E missions after the nerf, and my experience was I was stunning. I wasn't doing any damage, but I was hitting my shots almost every shot or coming very, very close. Let's see. You gonna hit this? Oh, direct hit. Oh, that's strange. Now, my question is, would this have been possible pre-nerf with this, even this French SPG? I played it. I didn't hit every shot. That's a blind shot. There's 4 blind shots. I'm just writing this down as I go. I played this thing. Is this going to be a direct hit? No. Let's say we don't know because the enemies died. So let's say 5. Almost like a blind shot, right? I don't know if it hit the dead tank or not. So it's possible that what's happened is SPGs were doing too much damage, and they had a certain mechanic, and they had a certain splash radius, blah blah blah, and they were balanced the way they were. Then there was the nerf, and I remember right after the nerf, there was just the expectation values dropped. They dropped way down, like they plummeted like a rock. And then after a couple of weeks, expectation values recovered a bit, and went higher, and now they've stabilized. Lower than they were before the nerf, much lower than before the nerf, but much higher than they were in the couple of weeks after the nerf. Skill actually did a video on this. He called it Wargaming Sneaky Magic Trick Stealth Buffing Artas. And he showed this graph here, which is the Object 261's the Tier 9 Russian artillery expectation values for marks of excellence. And they were headed along flat, going from left to right. And then the date of the nerf, they started plummeting down in a straight line. And these expectation values are using the trailing 14-day average. And then on the date that's shown on the where the little arrow is there, they start trending up again. And they keep trending up and then stabilize now higher than that low point in the V, but not as high as it was pre-nerf. The date that little kink happened is when Wargaming released a micro patch called Bug Fix. Funny enough, Wargaming responded to this video, and Skill had to retract his assertion that artillery was sneakily buffed. Wargaming left this message on his video. They said, "Hello everyone, here to clear up some misconceptions. Let's make one thing clear. There was no stealth buff. There will be no more taxes. Read my lips. Here is the explanation for the marks of excellence requirements which Skill talked about." Why would they comment on a video? They actually made him retract his assertion in the video. Read my lips, guys. There will be no new taxes. You know what it means when someone says there was no stealth buff? You've been around a while, right? That means, of course, there was, but we're here to deny it. All right, let me keep reading this. As soon as one understands the concept of a floating average for the past 14 days, the graph makes perfect sense. And when you think about it, it would much rather be weird if this effect were not the case. The randomized exemplary numbers in the spreadsheet simulate a substantial drop in the combined damage being done by arties, which is probably down to at least 2 factors. Okay, there's 2 factors why the Mark of Excellence requirements, which is combined damage, dropped so far below what is the expectation value now and jump back up on a hinge, not a smooth curve, on a hinge after 14 days, precisely on the day that they introduced the micro patch to fix bugs. This is their explanation. Now remember, they prefaced this by saying, as soon as one understands the concept of a floating average, it'll make perfect sense. These are the 2 reasons. A, experienced arty players, as well as players new to the class, trying the new possibilities out, which include AP and non-stun HE. An effect that would fade a little over time as the new sensation wears off, which leads to less combined damage due to less stunning being done initially after the patch. It does an effect that that will fade off exactly on the day when we introduce the bug fix patch. This effect will fade off. Okay, so they're saying that players use the non-stun ammo and they use the AP ammo and did less combined. Interesting. And new players new to the class, just took out all their tier 10 artilleries to influence those results. All those people just free XP'd tier 10 artilleries and played them and made the expectation values drop. All right, B. Add to that the number of arties in random battles possibly dipped for the same reason at around the same time, because of people moving back to their usual vehicles of choice, which would naturally lead to more stun assist per piece of artillery. Yeah, as soon as someone understands the concept of floating average, it makes perfect sense. Obviously, according to point B, if the number of arties in random battles, if the number of players playing artillery in random battles possibly dipped for the same reason, so there's less people playing artillery, at around the same time as the V on the date of our micro patch, of people moving back to their usual vehicles because they didn't want to play arty anymore, which would naturally lead to more stun assist. Yeah, that makes sense. If less people play artillery, then naturally the players playing would have more stun assist because their vehicles, their artilleries would naturally stun more. I always find that when there's less artilleries playing in the game, when I log on to World of Tanks, if there's 20,000 people playing on the NA server, if there's less SPGs being played, naturally I will do more stun assist. What the hell does that even mean? Now, their point A is interesting, saying that players initially started shooting the different types of ammo and doing less combined damage until they smartened up and that wore off and they started just shooting number 1 ammo. But, you know, this guy's shooting nothing but AP. And he's hitting every shot. And that's not what Wargaming said in their video when they described the HE changes. They said that the AP shell was some magic shell that would hit occasionally and do a lot more damage. But if you fired nothing but HE shells, you would do a little bit of damage consistently, whereas the AP shell would do a lot of damage but not consistently, and you'd average out the same. You don't remember? I'll show you the video.
Its Majesty armor-piercing shell, the third.
Well, in some cases it can be a heat shell. By its purpose, this is a tactical shell with the highest armor penetration. If it penetrates armor, it causes more damage than any HE shell with non-penetration. For obvious reasons, it doesn't cause stun and has no burst radius.
It sounds like a situational superhero shell that comes to the rescue when regular AG shells fail to perform, like when you need to fire at a tank with a spall liner. But what is its true effectiveness? It can ricochet or miss the target. At a first glance, there's little point in it.
Well, that's your opinion, but I base my decision on the facts. Let's do an experiment. 2 60TP twins and 2 SPGs with different ammo loads. As you can see, high explosive shells don't always hit the target and cause significant damage. For a series of shots, the damage with armor-piercing shells is comparable to high explosive shell damage.
They describe it as a tactical shell that'll have the same sort of dispersion as a AG shell. It does a lot of damage if it hits, but it only hits occasionally. So they actually do an experiment where they have one tank firing nothing but the AG shell, which, you know, hits or gets close, has the standard dispersion, does a little bit of damage per shot, and one tank shooting AP shells, which misses a lot, but when it does hit, it does a lot of damage, and it averages to about the same. And I think that was the intent of the nerf. That was the intent. But right afterward, it became apparent that with the same dispersion values that SPGs had pre-nerf, there was just so many zero rolls, 0, 0, 0 on a miss, 0, 0, 0 on when you miss your AP shells, that the expectation values were plummeting. Then there was a bug fix, and I believe that bug fix might have been, hey, let's just make the dispersion of the SPG shots a little better. Let's just tweak the dispersion values, make it a little bit more accurate, direct hit, and the damage is going to be a lot less because we've nerfed the splash radius and we've nerfed the damage. But with the same type of dispersion as before, there were too many zero rolls. And I think artillery is just a little bit more accurate now. And some people have realized this. Boom, bullseye. And they're playing SPGs like this guy in his bat chat that I played pre-nerf. And I know that I would play a game in this thing if I took 15, 16 shots. I would hit maybe 1 or 2 direct hits. Most of the damage I did was because of splash damage. But now, I got an example here, and I'm going to ask some SPG players, people who actually play SPGs, because I'm not a full-time SPG player. I just kind of clued into this when I started playing the Tier 9 British one to get the missions done. Do you guys see my video? I'll leave in the top right corner here, I'll leave the link for that video. Like, is it cheating to get these missions done? I couldn't believe the shots the accuracy was fantastic. I wasn't doing a lot of damage, but every shot, boom, direct hit. Il est cuit! Passion suivant! Like, who plays artillery with full AP now? Let's look at these results. And I maintain that pre-nerf, if you took the shots that this guy took in this game, you would miss most of them, and you would do probably more damage because the splash radius and the amount of damage on the SPGs was higher. But this guy's run full AP. Let's look at the detailed report here and see how many shots he took and how many were direct hits, okay? And it looks like he took 16 shots, of which 11 were direct hits. Now remember, I counted about 4, I believe, where he just took a blind shot to finish off his clip, or he took a shot when there was no enemy, when the enemy wasn't lit and the trajectory wasn't locked onto the enemy. So I think he missed 1 shot. You count those 4 blind shots, and he hit every shot bullseye. How many people have ever had an SPG game where you hit every shot? And I've played the SPGs with the bigger guns now, the M53, M55, and the T92. And the shots just hit closer to the enemies so that you'll do a little bit of damage. They don't disperse as far. They don't... What am I trying to say? If the dispersion was the same as it was pre-nerf, you'd have a lot of games where a tank like this one, the T92, which has the biggest gun, does 0 damage. And that's what I experienced right after the nerf. But now you play the T92 and wait, hold on, guy, because I know there's going to be some people saying, "Oh, Claus says Artie is really good now." No, I don't say Artie is really good now. It's worse than it was. It's nerfed. It's definitely been nerfed. It does a lot less damage than it did pre-nerf. But I think one explanation, maybe Wargaming will come on my video and leave a comment saying there was absolutely no secret buff to artillery. I doubt it. But I think what the more logical explanation is that right after the nerf, the dispersion, the sigma values for the artillery was exactly the same, and there was a lot of shots resulting in 0 or very low damage. The AP shells were worthless. I tried them. You would only hit like 1 out of 10 shots, so you would come out of some games, if you only got 3 or 4 shots in a game, you'd come out of the game with 0 damage. That hit almost bullseye. Okay, that shot hit almost bullseye. And then after that 14-day period, when they noticed those results tanking, they did a little bit of a tweak to the sigma, meaning where does the shot go within the fully aimed shot. And for this T92, let's just watch this shot here, okay? We're going to talk about the T92 now. Let's just watch. It's very slow shooting, you have to aim forever, and he's decided to change his target. He's moving a little bit there. Okay, here he goes. Come on, take a shot. Aim this gun fully. This is the least accurate artillery with the worst dispersion. Take your shot. Okay. Now, I played this artillery pre-nerf, and the way this one would work is you would very rarely, very rarely hit or come close to what you're aiming at. The shot could go anywhere in your aim circle, and you relied on your huge splash radius, and you were able to do 300, 400, 500 damage even on a huge miss. But those 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 times when you directly hit someone, you would really hurt them. But now, that went exactly where he aimed. The target moved, but it went almost exactly where he aimed. Now, because of these, you notice he didn't do a lot of damage because the splash radius has been reduced so much. Right after the nerf, I think if this T92 had the same dispersion within the circle, there would be so many shots that rolled 0, 0, 0, 0. If the shot hit the edge of the hit the edge of this aim circle, you would do 0 because the splash radius has been reduced. But now, shots seem to go close. It's been nerfed, so you do less damage, but the shots seem to congregate closer to the what you're aiming at. And so what I've noticed, and I want to get some opinions from some SPG players, some people that have played a lot more games. All I have is some games that people sent me, emails that people have sent me. Some guy, hey, I can use AP rounds on my artillery now because I play the Object 261. I've got it. Let's watch this shot, and I'll talk to you about a couple of games I got from players that play the Object 261. And they're saying I play my Object 261 now with full AP because they hit every shot, and they're doing a lot more damage. Their expectation value for their Object 261 has come up a lot because they can fire nothing but AP, and they hit all the time, and they're doing a lot of damage. Now, in the video that we just watched, Wargaming they made a point of saying, I believe in the facts, and the way they had it worked out, and they told us in the video, was that you were gonna miss a lot of shots just like before nerf, and if you fired HE, you would do 100, 200 damage per shot, and after 10 shots you'd average 1,000, 2,000 damage. But if you shot AP 10 shots, you might only hit 2, and you do 1,000 to, you do about the same amount of damage, but you wouldn't score the hit as often, and that's how it was balanced, right? Well, now some of the really accurate SPGs like the Bat Chat and the Object 261 can run nothing but AP shells, and this big huge guy that used to miss every shot right after the and relied on the big splash radius. Now, oh, he even moved his. Let's see if he hits this shot here. Critical hit. Now, this guy used to rely on the big splash radius because the shots would almost always miss. Now it's been neutered and it does a lot less damage, and the shots land closer. That's a logical explanation for why the expectation values dropped so dramatically right after the nerf, and then they stopped on the day of the when we had the bug fixed, and then they stabilized and went up a bit, and now they've stabilized to less than before. Let's see the shell. That was close. Let me know what you guys think, okay? I want to hear from some dedicated artillery players, how you've adapted. I showed you one video. I've mentioned, I'll leave the link in the top right corner, of how to get those Object 279E missions done using the stock gun on that Tier 9 British artillery. Super accurate, hitting bullseyes all the time, running it with the standard HE so I can stun people over and over and over again. I think in one game I stunned 27 different targets. That was a big miss. That's a big miss. You see, that is what this thing would normally do pre-nerf, and he probably still would have stunned that guy and still would have done about 100 damage even on that shot pre-nerf. But that was a typical miss how I remember this thing. But I want to hear from some of you guys. I shared how I loaded that Tier 9 British artillery to get the stun damage up and get the number of stuns up to do the missions. Are there any of you that are running your SPGs differently now? Have you learned some, share with the community here in the comment section? Like, for instance, I can offer people that play the Object 261 running nothing but AP. You just watch the guy playing the Bat Chat running nothing but... we don't know where that shell landed because he zoomed away. Running nothing but AP on a Bat Chat and hitting, basically taking 16 shots, hitting 11, and 4 of those shots were blind shots. So if you remove 4, he hit what did he hit? 12 aim shots, and he hit 11, and then there were 4 blind shots. Is that normal now? Or are you guys playing the Bat Chat artillery with nothing but AP? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And we'll have a lively discussion. Now, the fact is, yes, artillery has been nerfed. The expectation values now are lower than they were pre-nerf. But I think they were so bad. I would have hit, but that guy moved. The expectations dropped so much, and I think it was because there were just so many zero-value shots. Usually the explanation is the most simple thing, right? There's not a big, huge conspiracy theory. There's not a huge secret rework. No, there's been no secret rework. There's not a big conspiracy theory. I think it's just with the typical dispersion pre-nerf, the values were just a lot lower than they thought, and then they did a little tweak where they made the guns, the Sigma and the dispersion within the shot radius just a little bit better. So that now, when one of these big guys shoots, he hits. I played this thing pre-nerf. If I took 15 shots with this, I'd maybe hit 1. But the gun was so big and such big splash that you'd still do a shit ton of damage. So anyways, let's just finish this off. You guys are thinking, Claus has shown 2 artillery games. What's happened? Is this channel changed to be an SPG channel? No, just trying to answer some question to what's going on in the game. I noticed different things that are happening, and try and give you the kind of the logical explanations. I find it very interesting that Wargaming would have taken the time to come right out and leave a message on Skills Video and flat out deny that bug fix patch had nothing to do with the SPG expectation values turning on a dime and going up a little bit. In my experience, guys, when someone immediately rushes to say, no, it's not true, it absolutely under no circumstances, I worked at an office. And I remember the business was going really poor and things weren't looking very good. And we were in a recession and everyone was worried, oh my God, are there going to be layoffs? And there was kind of like a rumor going around the office that there was going to be layoffs, and the managers heard. And then they called a meeting to tell us, absolutely under no circumstances will there be layoffs. The strength of our company is our workers, and we just want to let you know that there will absolutely be no layoffs. A month later, there were layoffs. Or a politician that says, read my lips, there will be no new taxes. Well, you know that in the back of his head, he's thinking, how am I going to be able to disguise this tax increase that I've got planned next week after I get elected? Usually when someone rushes out to deny, bullseye! And he's shooting, look at the range here, guys. The range is 1,000 meters away. This is farther than you can. We're on one of these grand battle maps. This is about as far as you can shoot. The pre-nerf, my shot would have landed on another map at this range. Usually when someone rushes out to deny something, in my experience, when they rush out to say, no, 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 there's absolutely been no secret little buff, it usually means, oh shit, they got us, we better deny it. But hey, this is Claus Kellerman channel. This is where we talk about, we talk about things and don't get butthurt about them like adults. No fanboys allowed. Get your mommy to give you a glass of milk if you're a fanboy and you'll feel better. Don't worry, okay? Let's look at his results here. A lot of his shots hit very close. He did over 3,000 damage. But shots taken, 16. He actually hit 6. That's, that's very good for this tank. That's only one game, but I use the games as examples to spur discussion. Leave some comments in the comment section. I want to hear from people that actually play artillery, that have played hundreds or thousands of games after the nerf, and let me know what you guys think. You might say, no, Claus, you're full of shit. That's just 2 guys that got lucky. Or maybe I might hear from someone, yeah, I noticed that. Or I notice I'm getting hit more often at low tiers, mid tiers. Let me know what you guys think, and I will read your comments, and I will catch you on the next one.